Right, Happy New Year everyone. Now I thought you might be interested in a short nature notes about owl pellet dissection. So let's start by looking at an owl pellet, and I've got a few of them here which I've collected. So an owl pellet, or a pellet from any bird of prey, is basically the undigested food that they cough up. So owls in particular produce these pellets because they hunt for small mammals, mice and voles, and when they've caught one, they'll swallow their prey item whole. They don't break the food up. So the whole mouse is swallowed, and that then sits in the stomach where it's digested, and the digestible parts of the mouse move down into the intestines, and the undigestible parts, which is basically the fur and the bones, get formed into a hard pellet at the top end of the digestive tract, and then is coughed up, producing an owl pellet. So these are from barn owls, and barn owls are good pellets if you can get hold of them, because they're a large pellet which will contain probably about 2 days worth of food. So barn owls probably going to catch or aim to eat one mouse or vole per day, and then every couple of days they'll produce a pellet. The thing about barn owls is that they nest and roost in the same places every day, and so every 2 days they're producing a pellet. If you can find a roost site, whether that's in a hollow tree or a nest box or a old disused barn, you may well find maybe 10, 20 or 30 of these pellets, and you can obviously help yourself to a few of those, take them home, and then we can go through dissection and actually look at the bones and find out what species of voles and mice those owls have been eating. So first of all, you get your pellets, and all you need is a little tub of water, and pop a couple of the pellets in and give them a good soaking, so just in a few inches of water. And if you leave them in there for about half an hour, they'll kind of soften up and break up, and then they make it a lot easier to pull apart. So if we pause the video. Okay, so these pellets have been soaking for about half an hour now, so we'll just get one of them out. Now, just use a dinner plate, and probably worth putting a bit of newspaper down on your table. A couple of cocktail sticks, and then what's good is this little guide that I've got, which is produced by where is it now? This company here. FSC Publications in Shrewsbury, Guide to British Owls and Owl Pellets. And where this is handy is it gives you a chart of all the skulls that and the bones you're likely to find in an owl pellet, and helps you identify the individual species. So have that to hand. I'll put that down there. Those pellets over there. So we've got the pellet out, and just gently with your fingers break it apart, and lots of fur from the small rodents they've been eating, various little bones, and what we're really after are skulls. The skull killed it. Pop that down on one side. the upper jaw and the lower jaw there. So we'll keep that. So that's one skull. So that's obviously one prey item that's in this pellet. Lots of bits of vertebrae. That's a longer bone there. That's be a I think that's a humerus. So that's a kind of upper arm of a mouse. Right, we've got another skull. Right, so there's a lower jawbone in there, or another one there. Oh yeah, here's a skull. Just gently tease out all the bits of hair. Skulls are often kind of slightly damaged because that's where the owls grab them with its talons. So there's a second skull there. Put it over that side. These are all just small bones. I mean, you could, if you've got the time and the patience, reconstruct the whole skeleton from a small mammal. If we dissected out all the bones, separated them all out, cleaned them up, and actually as a kid I did used to do that. And you can have the complete skeleton of a vole or a mouse. Okay, there's another skull here. And this is quite a large owl pellet. So there's at least 3 voles worth of bones and fur in here. This is the reason barn owl pellets are the best ones if you can get hold of them. Firstly, because they're easier to find, because barn owls roost and nest in the same spot. But also they produce large owl pellets. So tawny owl pellets, if you can come across them, you need to find a tawny owl's nest to really get hold of a few pellets. Their pellets are about half this size, a lot smaller, and usually only contain one prey item per pellet, whereas barn owls have got 2 or 3 voles worth of skulls. If you collect owl pellets from different parts of the country, different habitats, I think there's that could be that's a skull in there. So different owl pellets from different parts of the country, different habitats, will contain different species of small animals. As we go to holiday on the west coast of Scotland quite regularly, and I found a owl's roost up there, and I got several pellets out of that, brought them home, and they all contain pygmy shrew skeletons. Right, well, if we pause that, I'll dissect these out and clean them up, and then we'll come back and try and identify the species. Right, okay, so I've cleaned up and just tidied up a few of these bones. So this is from that one pellet that we dissected. This is all the fur and miscellaneous bones, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 small mammals in that one pellet. These are just a few of the bones I've pulled out. That's part or 2 sides of the pelvis. So you've got lower leg, tibia and fibula. That's a femur and a humerus there. A couple of ribs, and that's part of the vertebra, part of the spinal column. So they're kind of quite interesting, but it's actually the skulls we're really interested in, and it's just useful to try and identify the different species. You can see this was the big skull we got out first of all, where that talon's gone through the back of the skull. Probably the barn owls killed these voles by crunching them at the back of the head. That's why they've all got the backs of the skulls damaged. And you identify the species by looking carefully at the lower jaw. So I've lined them up, the 5 lower jaws, or 1/2 of each lower jaw from these 5 skulls. And there's 3 different species. And this is where the chart here comes in handy, because by looking at the shapes of each lower jawbone and the various sizes, we can identify that the bigger skull, is from a field vole. It's got a very prominent and deep cleft in this mandible. The one above, which was this skull here, is a bank vole, just a little bit smaller and not quite such a pronounced cleft. And then 3 skulls from wood mice, and again you can tell them from the size and the shape of the process sticking out the back here. So there you go. That's kind of just interesting to look at what your local barn owls are feeding on, and it's amazing what you can find. I've found in the past weasel skulls, moles reasonably regularly, and various different types of voles and mice. So thanks for listening in. I've just got a couple of special shout outs. Our good friends, good sailing friends, old Ted and Jenny. Hello, and also I was going to especially mention my aunt and uncle John and Ali, and the kids and Newland cousins who we haven't been able to see this Christmas through the lockdown. But anyway, hopefully see you soon in the new year. Thanks for listening in. Bye.